Ever since I can remember, I've always been fascinated with the stars, the universe, and space, and the constellations, and whatever those things are up there. And the Egyptians, I think, were the ones who first kind of charted the skies. And this, which is in the Louvre, is an astrological chart of the Egyptians, which just came to light, in my mind, a couple of years ago when my parents went to Egypt and brought me back a souvenir that had it on it. So I was immediately obsessed because I had looked for things, star charts of all different cultures, and I can't believe the Egyptian one slid past me. So I immediately was like, ding, that's something I have to do for a drawing. So I created this drawing called Stars of Egypt, which took a few months, and I basically evolved the drawing in the souvenir that people sell all over Egypt, and I turned it into something a little more powerful with some more symbolism and all kinds of amazing things around. So I'm going to go around it. I'm going to explain to you a lot of these things and show you some of the information that I found, and you can check your astrological sign, and here we go. Starting with the obelisk, one of the main mystery kind of things of Egypt. Were they power gatherers? Like, were they phallic, which I don't really believe. I think they were something incredible, powerful that maybe harnessed energy or went in connection with the sun, or was it sundial even to tell time? I believe it had multiple purposes, because the effort that you put into making one of these, if you're human, not created by giants, is astronomical. These things are massive, so heavy, and just amazingly unknown. So here we go. The first one, January 1st to 7th, and all the dates you can read, but the Nile is the first astrological sign we'll cover, and that's right in the middle of the obelisk. So the Nile is a river whose steadiness is interrupted by floods of incredible abundance, like an artery in which the blood and salt of the maternal body of the land of Egypt circulate. The sacred river fertilizes the earth with its rich deposits. There where the papyrus, reeds, millet, sorghum, and ritual flowers grow, civilization is born. Those born under this sign are peacemakers, lovers of refinement, and owe it to themselves to live in an awakened state. They are receptive to all the riches they bring to their surroundings. So that is very cool. There's a lot of different things. It's very similar to our astrological charts and descriptions. And here is Jeb. Jeb is the god of the earth, the cosmic father. And Nut and Jeb, who Nut is at the top of basically the dome, Nut and Jeb form an opening, gateway, or birth canal through which all physical matter is born into existence. This can be seen symbolically as the cosmic egg. Ancient Egyptian texts speak of all life pouring from the union of Jeb and Nut, and they are the top and bottom of this drawing. So Mut, the next one, he, besides this woman in her role, she was a motherly role, basically. So Mut, who was withdrawn into the mythical and historical scene while taking with her unspeakable words and a fundamental violence, for this mother who is repressed by the capricious genealogy of the gods, heroes, and men, life and death go hand in hand. The waters of the Nile and the burning sand of the Nubian desert are part and symbolic of this mother body. In the presence of this fearsome goddess, man is born with the feeling that his life must be paid for by guilt, in terms of the mystical parallel between the life of the human and the death of the divine. And then on the other side of that is Thoth, I call him, or Toth. And it is with modesty that this bird god, Thoth, provides ingenious ideas to the simple senses of humans and inspires their souls and energies with a passion to know and to build. Thoth's clear-sightedness drives away indolence, insidious cunning, and impatient pride. Thoth's instruction induces people to invent and to risk breaking with tradition. Nature insists on producing enlightened masters who must serve her without pretensions in order to dominate her. It also states that Thoth comes to us as a good-natured memory, keen to preserve wisdom, and is a patron of astronomers, accountants, healers, and charmers. So this whole Egyptian world was just way different. You can tell the differences in the astrological symbols. And here's Isis. She, under the moon, connected to the moon at her head. Isis's soul is devoted to the clearest of quests, and this glorious lover is the supreme messenger of life. Pride and meanness fail before this unequaled magician, just as deceiving glimmers vanish when day breaks. The most illustrious of Egyptian goddesses, in her capacity for love and redemption, finds the strength to take under her wings and protects all those who are about to perish coldly for lack of faith in the wild generosity of the vital spirits. Pretty interesting. As a tireless source of resurrection and profound mercy, the goddess Isis is often represented by the double protection of the looped cross and the knot, symbols of the perpetuation of origins and descendants. Very interesting. It's definitely too bad all of our knowledge of our just human descendants and godly descendants has been all lost throughout time. And then here on the other side, holding up the sun, we have Amun-Ra, January 8th and February. Around those other times, they have different times, which is very interesting as well. Ra is the principal god of Egypt, the cosmic home of the Wheel of Time. His solar cult gives light to the entire Egyptian pantheon. Ra, model of power and grandeur, is the first divinity to detach himself from primordial chaos and gives the first breath of life. Without his fertile benevolence, all the substance of the world would be nothing. So that's pretty cool. He's pretty powerful. And here comes Osiris over here. According to Egyptian legend, the goddess Nut, in spite of the curse of sterility pronounced upon her by Ra, is able to bear Osiris, thanks to the help of the god Thoth, who sidestepped this judgment by inventing 5 extra days in the year. Osiris is conceived during this period. Assisted by Isis, his sister and wife, Osiris gives humans respect for the gods, instruction in agriculture, and in the order of the universe. And here's the Binu bird, which is another very popular symbol in Egypt, and he's right next to Osiris. On the other side is Seth, who is in the high drama of Egyptian religion. Seth plays the necessary role of bringing death to the world by casting his divine brother Osiris into the mighty river Nile. When Osiris is returned to life briefly by the magic of his loving sister-wife Isis, the sequence of disintegration and regeneration into a higher form is born. Seth embodies the powerful forces needed to bring about great change. So we need a little bit of Seth action. And this bird, I gotta look up again because I'll put down in the text because I completely forgot who this bird was and I couldn't find it. But this is Ptah, who is another god of the pantheon. Not of these last two, the flying one and Ptah, are not part of the astrological cycle. They're just different kind of symbols that you'll find throughout art in different cultures in Egypt that had their own levels of importance. Same with the owl, a keen hunter, eyes in the front. They always place his eyes in the front. It's even a letter in the Egyptian alphabet. And you can notice the stars and planets around. Each one of those stars is the constellations, and they're going all around. And here is Atum, who's from the very beginning, beyond the firmament, beyond the dome, was a self-created deity, the first being to emerge from the darkness and endless watery abyss that existed before creation. A product of the energy and matter contained in this chaos, he created his children, the first deities, out of loneliness. He produced from his own sneeze, or his sperm, his semen, Shu, the god of air, and Tefnut, the goddess of moisture. The brother and sister, curious about the primeval waters that surrounded them, went to explore the waters and disappeared into the darkness. Unable to bear his loss, Adam sent a fiery messenger, the Eye of Ra, to find his children. The tears of joy he shed upon their return were the first human beings. But I wonder if there's any interesting truth in that. Then here we have the falcon, which is a very popular bird of Egypt. Very known, kind of scavenger-esque, powerful bird, known, intelligent. The Ankh, symbol of life, eternal life, and so much more that we probably have no idea about. It could have even been a technological device. Who even knows? And here Anubis and Bastet are holding it at the very top of the jar and coming out of the birth stomach of the goddess mother, Nut, I believe, the dome at the top. And here we have Anubis. To this god with the head of a wild dog is attributed the invention and spread of the techniques of embalming the dead. In the guise of a roaming dog, this god explores every cemetery, fulfilling the duty of a sacred search for unattended souls. This god symbolizes death and the wandering of the departed until they persuade Sekhmet to open the door to the Valley of Immortality. Those born under this sign are clever and full of compassion, but they harbor the presence of darkness. With the realistic understanding of the dark side of life, their character is deeply ambivalent and sometimes fatalistic. So very interesting. So you should definitely look up, if you're one of these symbols and signs, you should check it out. And here's Bastet, a goddess with the body of a woman and face of a cat, swinging between good and bad, evil tendencies, appears late in Egyptian religion through the symbolism of the cat as prehistoric. The cat, with its affinity with the human, always gives a keen perception of the occult in its most ancient origin. The importance accorded to the cat by the original inhabitants of the valley of the Nile is linked directly to its spectral gaze, which embodies the secret repository of a mysterious knowledge. Simply by its magnetic presence, it can detect and thwart any outside attack. And if you have a cat, you know that to be true. And I've even theorized that they can slow down time in order to avoid different attacks, but who knows? And here comes Horus. The politics of justice takes shape in the mythical world of the ancient Egyptians with Horus. This vengeful god, son of Isis and Osiris, entered into legendary combat with Seth, that dog-like creature. During his battle with Seth, the strength of Horus gave rise to the history of the magnificent sovereigns and of the power and protection derived from the gaze of Ujat, the magic eye plucked from Osiris and taken by Horus. This bird god possesses to a supreme degree the virtues of enlightenment and peace with which he renews the vital fluids of that which is desiccated or congealed. So it's kind of interesting to wonder who the ancients were according to the Egyptians. Like, the Egyptians are our ancient people, but who was ancient to them? Probably the original creators, the original architects who passed down all of this knowledge. And here is Sekhmet. He is the lioness. The pharaoh, as a living god, gives life through his actions and is at the center of sacred scriptures which credit him with multiple divinities. The most impressive of these mythical links is the one that ties him to the lioness goddess Sekhmet, who guards hell with strict equity and justice. It is not possible to recognize compassion or doubt in the character of Sekhmet. It is driven by the most mathematical sense of justice. In Egypt, lions are often depicted two at a time back to back, each of them looking out over the opposite horizon. This twosome symbolizes presence through an eternal gaze which surveys and controls at the same time. The Sekhmet nature stretches from the extreme pure to the most impure, from order to disorder, and from the just to the unjust. And here is the scarab beetle, which is another huge symbol of the ancient Egyptians, bringing like good fortune and all this. And if you've ever seen a scarab beetle in person, they are awesome. So here you go. Check your signs. This is a big just overall examination of the months and the times. And I also find it interesting that certain time periods go from like the Nile has 4 different months within it. That's very different than all of our zodiacs and astrological charts that we know. And so they have different several week periods that are involved. So I wonder if those relate to the cosmos and the stars above, and I'm willing to believe they do, because there's a lot that we probably don't know, and things probably come and go and are at different placements, and who knows, but I think they did. We certainly don't anymore, but a lot of information is lost, and a lot of people credit the Egyptians with providing this first star map of our world, and that's what these are holding up. The ones I'm showing now, they're kind of standing on the pyramids, and I made the pyramids white because I've heard stories back in the day that you could see the pyramid from like 1,000 miles away when the sun was shining on it. It was so bright, so powerful, so radiant. So I made it pure white here with an entrance coming out, and these guys that are holding up the astrological chart are standing on it, 2 on either side. Now I couldn't find the names of these gods. I think they're just kind of like just symbolic as like just the holders up of the sky. You know, there's the gods that fill the zodiac are of one set, one family, and one grade of god, and then these are probably of another. And I'm sure there were many different distinctions in the past. And you know, what if these giant beings, titans, gods, whatever, ruled the world one day? You know, what if they are holding it up? Who knows? Who's to say? I love believing in mythology, or just imagining that the mythology is correct, or that it could be, because it brings a whole new perspective into light, a whole new way of being, a whole new everything. And we know NASA and our people that tell us about space cannot be trusted, and they're trying to just make people not look at the stars by light pollution and other forms of chemtrails, and so we have no idea what the ancient skies look like. But this is how they were mapped. And very interesting symbols. There's a lot of people within it. The animals, you can find a lot of, like Sagittarius is down there. A lot of them are very similar to today, Aries and the bull and different things. So they saw some of the same things and then a lot of different. There's a lot of fish in here. There's a lot of certain areas that are marked. Like it's like a whole kind of world is unraveling. And the North Star is at the center, whatever that North Star is. Something fishy about that. I definitely think I'd like to get to the bottom of that someday. I hope we can. But all these different things interacting with, and around the outer rim, there's just kind of like a scene of like all kind of people walking around, participating in daily life. There's certain areas where there are smaller stars. There's different symbols, different hieroglyphs all throughout, and some people have tried to analyze these, and maybe they're right, maybe they're not, but I think they figured out some stuff about what this means, but we really don't know how to interpret it anymore, I believe, because their thoughts on the entire cosmos were just so different than ours are today. There's just really no denying that. Their whole worldview of all the ancients, especially the Egyptians, because we don't know how far back they really truly go, are all so different than our modern world. Like, they didn't look at screens. They would have just laughed at that and been like, oh, okay, that's an option of life. I will not take that path. And they would just embrace the reality, I'm sure. They used all their time, utilized it well, and thought well. They used their thought process beautifully, I'm sure, and they were just living in a magical, magical world. And so that's what I was trying to create here, maybe create a subconscious little glimpse of what the magic was back then and how it all worked. And who knows? But I love their philosophies, I love their theories, I love their art, I love everything. And then upside down, I always have different things happen, but upside down, look at the top. You can see these two faces, these two profiles. Now, the right side up, this is an obelisk, it's a landscape, it's the Nile River, and it's these guys holding up. But upside down, these two faces formed. And this was totally subconscious, totally unintentional. And this happens with a lot of my art, and I look at it as proof that there's some kind of divine guidance. Because sometimes when I do a lot of these drawings, something seems to take over, and I embrace it fully. And when things like this happen, I love it because the faces are awesome. And that's what it looks like right side up. You can't even tell that there was two profiles of faces. So I wonder who those gods are, the gods of Earth that I summoned through this drawing. There's no telling. But magic exists everywhere. The dome at the top, the firmament, the stars embedded in it, giving birth to life, the Ankh, all this stuff. All of it connects in some beautiful subconscious way. I plucked something great out of this whole world and this whole realm of thought, and I hope shedding a little light on it in this video will help you guys kind of see that you know, there's a lot of different things out there that we can't control. She is looking down at us at all times. Nut, the goddess of the firmament of the land above. And what is beyond that? Who knows? I wonder if they did. There's no telling. But here you go. Enjoy this next little part. I'll let you guys explore this with some music, and you can just check it out. This is just kind of me going around the drawing right side up, and then I go around it upside down. So take a look, think what you will. Let me know in the comments if there's anything that you want to share or add to this, and I'd love to hear it. Bless you all. If you'd like to purchase this art, I'll leave the link in the information below. And check out all my art at artofdino.com. And I also have a Tibetan astrological chart that's coming out soon. And wait till you see that. It is phenomenal. So here we go. Enjoy Stars of Egypt. And this is one of the original parchment kind of things that they show, one of the souvenirs. This is another older form of it as well. And then I'll just show the timeline again. So bless you all in this quest. I hope you maybe learned something. Maybe you check out your new astrological chart. Maybe you are finding more similarities in this astrological chart than you do in the more common ones that we see in horoscopes and things like that. It's just good to know and think about the different stars up there, and we cannot forget, we cannot let them be hidden by satellites and by Elon Musk's like 5G machines or whatever that is happening up there. We have to take it back. We have to free the sky for the ancients, and we have to learn more. We got to summon the truth. I believe we will figure it all out someday, and we'll figure out where we fit in this eternal mystery of the universe. It's also important to fully realize and never forget that the instant you were born, that perfect moment when we were all born, the stars above us let out an influence, let out a power that connects with us throughout our entire lives. And I do believe that's real, and there's so much that infers about the magic, mystery, and miracle of our own existence. And to take that for granted or to forget about that and have it be lost due to time and manipulation is a shame. So remember how perfect you are. The stars above are always shining upon us. We will discover them and explore them. Bless you all.